I remember I enrolled into Southern University as a freshman in college back in 2012. And originally I was accepted into Southeastern University, but I got a call back and I was told that we didn't have any more housing and things of that nature. So I began to get a little frustrated because I didn't want to sit out of school. So my cousin called me up and she said, "Hey, you should come over to Southern University." And I'm thinking like, no, like I never wanted to go to that school from the beginning. However, I was so adamant about being into school my first semester that I decided to go. Well, the time of me being there, I discovered this thing that they did every week. It was one day out of the week, and they did it every week, and it was on a Wednesday. And I'm learning now that all of the HBCUs does this, and it's called Pretty Wednesday. So it's this big day, everybody get up, and they go into class, but everybody's all dressed up, and they all looking forward to how everyone is gonna look, you know? And I'm like, originally I'm thinking, well, I just wanted to go to college with some basketball shorts and a t-shirt and some socks and some house slippers, and that's the only thing I really wanted, And then I get there and I see how important appearance was. I see how important looking good was to them. So I remember getting my first refund check, and I brought all kind of clothes and shoes and things of that nature because I wanted to express myself as well. I wanted to feel like I feel good about myself on a Wednesday as well, So it was crazy because I still didn't have an interest then, but something started really sparking my interest as I started looking more into fashion. I started ordering Vogue magazines. I started subscribing to GQ. I started watching runway shows and things of that nature. So I remember not returning back to that school after that year, but I sat out of school one full year, and my brother, he's like a best friend to me, but he's like my brother, and me and him would talk all the time, and I would tell him like, "Hey man, I think I really want to do this fashion stuff." Between my brother Devin and my cousin Harold, I just didn't know which direction I wanted to go in, but I know I wanted to do something with fashion. So I remember calling my brother one day and I said, I'm gonna go to fashion school. And he was like, "You sure?" He's like, "Where do you have a fashion school at?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go to Atlanta." And he began to tell me like, "Man, like, go for your dreams, like shoot for the stars, And I ended up attending the Art Institute in Houston rather than in Atlanta. And although I would have loved to go to Atlanta, the scout was so excited to have me there. And unfortunately, I wanted to take my time and make a great decision as far as living wise and things of that nature. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to Houston. I went to Houston, I stayed with my uncle to attend fashion school, and it has taken off since there. One of the things that I enjoyed about discovering fashion was the fact that I didn't know what I was doing at first, and only thing I know that I wanted to do at the time was express myself. I wanted to find a way where I can express myself for who I was. Everybody else was doing it in different ways. I have friends that, went to school for law. I have friends that went to school for medical, whatever it is, you name it, they were doing it, but that's who they were, and I wanted to go to school for law, but I found this huge love and this passion for fashion, and it took off from there. And it started out as Cvltivated Gentleman, where only thing I would wear is like suits and things of that nature. And I mastered that, and then I said, I want to expand this vision. I want to be able to do more. I want to be a creative. So one day I just had my pen and my paper, and I started mapping out this big plan. And January 2018, I dropped my first two pieces, two bomber jackets. I'm wearing one now, and I'm like so proud of it. The turnout was great, and all the people that support me with Cvltivated, I truly thank everybody for that, because it has been like in a total different type of lifestyle. It's not easy either. It's not. I want people to understand, it's not easy to do these things But what makes it easy is because I love it. And this is something that I would probably do for free if I could, you know. So I really, really enjoy following my dreams. I can remember when my mom was like, "You sure this is what you want to do? Like, how you gonna make money? And is it a longevity thing? And don't get caught up out there. This fashion industry is crazy. Them people are crazy. Like, you should go get your degree because you always wanted to be an attorney. I always wanted to be an attorney from young. Always as a little boy, always wanted to be an attorney. One, because I can't ever shut up, and then two, because I debate a lot, but because I always have a different perspective on life, and my goal has always been to help people, in that way. But I found another way to help people, and in this way, it's where I really enjoy being hands-on with people and being creative with people and building this team. And Cultivated has come a long way. So I really, really, really love to give some props to my cousin. He started out with me, and we took it from there. He's been a huge inspiration in my life when it comes to fashion, and he told me, like, hey, shoot for the stars, and he's doing his thing now. But with Cultivated, he supports me so much, and I truly appreciate that. My mom always told me never to live in fear. However, we all deal with fear, and I remember like jotting down ideas and things of that nature, and the biggest fear that I had was I was trying to figure out if people would accept me for who I am, expressing who I am. Fashion is something that if you're into fashion, if you're in the fashion industry, those individuals will always look that weird because they may express themselves through props, or they may express themselves through some different type of fabric that you've never seen, or through costume or something of that. And then people are kind of looking at them like, hey, like, what you have on? Like, this is not everyday thing, or, this is not jeans and a t-shirt. And I often see that a lot, especially when I'm watching red carpet events or I'm watching the Met Gala and things of that nature, and people are clowning these individuals and these creatives for expressing themselves, So when I first started with Cultivated Gentlemen, because that's what the brand started out as, I thought to myself, like, man, like, I really want to embark on this journey of wearing suits all the time because, that's what makes me feel good. That's what makes me feel confident. And, I was afraid that people would be like, oh, like, who gonna wear a suit all the time? Like, who gonna do this and who gonna do that, Because mainly in my generation, most of the guys are so used to the trendy thing, the snapback hats, the Levi jeans, the jerseys, the fitted t-shirts, or whatever it is that may be out at the time, But a suit is something that is really, really rare to get someone in, especially the guys of my generation. It's one of those things where they won't get into a suit until it's a funeral, or until they go to a wedding or a church or something of that nature. And I had to change that. So, and that's a product of who I am. I like to look clean. People tell me all the time, like, Drew, you just too clean for me. Like, you just too bougie for me. And I'm like, nah, I just like to look a certain way. I like to carry myself a certain way because when you first walk into a room, that's how people judge you, just based off how you look, So I remember like telling my team and telling my brother and them, I said, man, like, I'm gonna wear suits like all the time, And it was like, I hope that work out. I'm like, oh, it's gonna work out. And I stepped out on faith, and I started doing these little random photo shoots. And I remember the first one, I did it in my aunt's office building. And I remember doing it, and people was like, okay, I see you. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, this is who I am. And now this is all that people see. And I started getting reviews from different people that I grew up with, or people that didn't even know me, or just the Dapper community. They all started reaching out to me like, man, like, I love the look, I love what you're doing, and things of that nature. And I wanted to feel like I was doing something, So at first I had this big fear that nobody would ever support me when it comes to this style of fashion. And I remember telling my mom, like, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but whatever the results is, that's the result, But I'm never gonna stop being me. I'm never gonna stop being Drew. And I stepped out on faith, and I loved every bit of it, But that really was the biggest fear that I had. Like, I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. It's like I said, it's always, I'm always fearing of the way people will react for me being myself, you know. However, regardless of the turnout or regardless of what people say, that still won't ever change. I won't ever stop being Drew, you know, but the fear would always be there. Social media is powerful. If you go back into the 90s, the 80s, 70s, they didn't have social media. So the way they did things were, it was the real hustle. You know, if you designed something, if you made music, if anything that you did that as a creative where you had to gather a fan base, you had to go out and stand in front of storefronts, you had to go out and pass your merchandise out, or you had to go out and do something to get the people to notice, you know. Even with trends, you know, if you wouldn't know about the new jersey, or you wouldn't know about the new Givenchy piece, or the new Versace piece, or whatever piece it is that was more popular at the time. Or I remember Tommy Hilfiger being like this big thing in the 90s. And then Calvin Klein coming about and things of that nature, you know, starter jackets and things. Like, you didn't hear about those things unless you went out to school and you saw your peers with it on. You saw it in the magazine, you saw it in the newspaper. You probably seen it on television, but you didn't see this mass social media that only thing you have to do is post it right from your couch, and then everybody, the whole world's gonna see it. You know, so now today we have taken, probably I would say, the easy route, you know, because if I could send out my designs or my music or whatever it is that I do out to thousands of people with one click, that's powerful. Now you can share ideas on social media. You can directly message a designer or a music artist or an athlete or anything of that caliber to get recognized now. You know, in the fashion industry, these fashion shows you have to get an invitation to, you know, most of them, or you have to pay to get in them. Now you could see it right online. You can stream it right on social media, right there on Instagram Live or Periscope or Twitter or Snapchat. Things of those social media platforms has been placed to do things like this, and the fact that they have had so much power to gravitate to get so many people involved to see their work has been amazing. Now it's to a point where it's getting even better, because I can click directly on your piece and see how much it is. I can click the link right there in your bio to go buy that piece. I don't have to go all the way to the Barney's New York store and to get this new Yeezy piece or this new Fenty piece. I don't have to do that anymore. Only thing I have to do now is click the link and I can buy. You know, and that has helped so much with the fashion industry, because oftentimes the fashion industry can fall off. It's either up or it's down. You know, the fashion industry, it comes and it goes. It's very trendy. It's very quick. You know, everybody want things so quick now. You know, this generation is so microwavable that we can't afford to not have social media today, especially with fashion. We need to know what's in, we need to know what's new, we need to know what's the new trends, because we want to be on it. We want to be the first to wear it. We want to be able to say, hey, I copped this piece from this guy that's a local designer. We want to be able to do those things now, because if we were back in the 70s and the 80s or the 90s, we would have to go search for those pieces, you know. So now I would say that social media somehow could possibly have ruined the exclusivity of fashion as well, because now everybody has access to whatever it is that's being put out. Everyone have access to wear these pieces, and they know where to go get them from. You know, back then, hey, you had to be the man. You know, you had to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody to get that piece, you know, to get that starter jacket, or to get the new Jordans and things of that nature. So sometimes I do feel like social media has ruined the exclusivity of it, because now we can just get it, you know. So social media is big, it's powerful, you know, but it has its pros and its cons. However, that's the only way to do it now. I couldn't see myself standing in front of a storefront trying to sell my jackets. I just couldn't see it, especially during the time where it's hot now. I stay in the South, you know, so it's always hot. And people like, oh, I'm not about to buy no jacket for the season, for that season. It's always hot out here, you know, so it'll be harder, you know. However, I'm grateful for social media, but sometimes I think to myself, like, am I really hustling? Am I really grinding for what it is that I want? Because artists back then can say, hey, I did this and I had to do this and I had to do that to get to where I'm at today. Today, most people can say, hey, somebody saw my piece and it went viral. Now I'm on top of the world, I'm making millions. I'm doing this and I'm dressing everybody. And it has its pros and its cons, but I could definitely say that it's working in our favor. My favorite thing about being a designer definitely would have to be the freedom of creativity. When I go home at night, or when I wake up in the morning, or if I'm asleep in the middle of the night and this thought comes to my head, I immediately jot it down. However, I learned that when you have to go to school to be an attorney, you have to go to school to be a doctor, you have to go to school to be a real estate agent. You know, you have to have a license to do things like that, you know, and you have a guideline to follow. You have a whole rubric that you need to follow in order to perform that surgery correctly, in order to defend this person correctly, in order to sell that property or this house to someone. You have a guideline that you have to follow. In the fashion industry, being a designer, being a stylist, anything that has to do with the fashion industry is your creativity that you're putting out on the table that you have no rules for. It's the freedom of creativity. That's all it is. I love that so much because I can take something and I can say, you know what, I want this piece here. No, I want that fabric. I want a different inside lining. I want different buttons. I want what I want. That's what it's all about. Wanting what you want and not having no one over you, hovering over you, telling you, no, this is not right, this is not it. No, you get to do what you want to do. And oftentimes, I used to think, well, if I don't do it this way, nobody's gonna like it. And I'm like, you're not freeing up your creativity. You know, do what you think is best. You know, so the freedom of creativity has been the best part about being a designer. Any designer could possibly tell you that. It's one of those things where whatever you say goes. That's what I really, really, really enjoy about it, because the manufacturers and them sometimes will tell you, oh, well, we can't do that, or we can't do this, or no, you can. You probably can't do it, but I can. I'm gonna get it done. And I enjoy that because now I'm learning that with the freedom of creativity, I don't take no for an answer. If this is how I want to express myself through whatever piece that I'm designing or whoever I'm styling or whatever I'm wearing at the time, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure that happens. I remember my last photo shoot that I did, actually my photographer and I, shout out to By the Hive, Sterling Raw, he's actually my photographer. And I was getting my look together and I brought this tactical vest and he was like, what you gonna do with that? It's like, put some bullets in it. And he said, wait, you're not gonna get in trouble for that? I'm like, get in trouble for what? Expressing my creativity? Like, you can't tell me no. So we stayed up all night. He was like, man, like, I hope we can get away with this. I'm like, well, we brought him. I was able to walk out the store with him. So now I'm gonna use this. And I remember putting the bullets in and stuff like that, and I had my all black on and I was ready. And then it was even more so fun because I remember going to the store before that. And the day before, I remember going to the store and I brought a pack of cigarettes. Now, I don't smoke. Anybody that knows me know I don't smoke. And I brought a pack of cigarettes and he was like, wait, hold up, we smoking too? I was like, once again, follow my lead. When you're in this industry, you do what you want. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna let you do it. And I remember doing the photo shoot, we couldn't do it at the actual place that we wanted to do it at. And I was frustrated. I was like, okay, well, let's go to plan B. You know, so the photo shoot, I kid you not, lasted 10 minutes, 10 solid minutes. We got kicked out of the place that we ended up going to for plan B. And next thing you know, I said, you know what, I'm upset. I cannot believe this is going on. He was upset. The ride back home was like so quiet, you can hear a pin drop. And I remember him sending me some pictures days later, and I was just blown away. And he said, you know, sometimes I'm glad that I really listened to you. And I said, why you say that? And he says, because, I mean, had it not been for you saying that, like, hey, this is the freedom of creativity, and had you not said, let's go to plan B because you couldn't do plan A, we wouldn't have these amazing photos that we have. And he edited them, and I put them out, and the love I got from those photos, it blew me away. Like, I was really, really, really excited, and I didn't think people would really gravitate to that type of style. And they like bullets. Like, I had people even they messaged me like, hey, where did you get the tactical vest from? Like, you know, even the guy that I brought the bullets from, he was like, what you about to do with bullets? You don't have a gun. I was like, freedom of creativity. You know, I'm a designer. I'm a creative. This is what I do, you know. And it was crazy because I remember putting in a caption, I was like, I don't smoke. And sure enough, everybody was like, oh, you smoke now, and things of that nature. And it was even more funny because people were more concerned about me smoking cigarettes than they were marijuana. And I'm like, I don't smoke either, so it doesn't really matter, you know. But that's what I really love about this. I'm free. I don't have any handcuffs on me. I'm not shackled at the feet. I'm not being told what to do. I make the rules. I make rules and I break rules. So that's what I really love about being a designer, just having that freedom to do whatever I want. I never like to really say that one particular fashion designer or designers inspire me. They all do. They all do, simply because, to go back to what I was saying earlier, in order to do this job, you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. You can't worry about what other people think of you, you know. And I look at every designer, and I whether I like their pieces, whether I may not like their pieces, whether I might think they're okay, I still look at them, and I'm still inspired by everybody, because it takes a lot of guts to do what you're doing. You know, this is not an easy job. Most people, when I went off to fashion school, most people was like, oh, what you do all day? Color? You draw and color all day? I'm like, no. You get in your hands bloody. You in for a job. This is what you do all day long. You know, you mess up, you have to start all over again. You know, it's not the right size. It's tons of things I can name that we do other than just coloring and sketching and things of that nature. So when I say that I'm not inspired by one particular, I'm not saying that I don't have like a favorite or anything of that nature, because I definitely do have favorites. But I'm inspired by everybody, locally and whether they're global. Everybody from Givenchy on down to Nocturnal, over to the percentage theory, whatever it is that you have, I'm inspired. Because one thing about fashion designers is they have a story that they want to tell. Nocturnal is a story. The percentage theory is a story. Givenchy is a story. It started somewhere, and wherever it started and whatever inspired them has inspired them to showcase who they are through their pieces. So every time I look on a red carpet and I see one of my favorite celebrities draped in Givenchy, or I see them draped in Balmain, or I see them draped in Versace or Gucci, or coming up this fall, Nocturnal, and then the percentage theory is coming up, and then I'm seeing all these local brands and everybody wearing these different brands, whether it's a t-shirt brand or whether it's a couture dress that they probably designed. I'm inspired because you're my peer, and we all do the same thing. We all understand the same struggles. We understand how tough it is to express to the world who we are. You know, so I love that inspiration that I get from every designer, and I want to say blessings to everybody who's out here putting their personality through their clothing. I want to say thank you for being who you are and sharing that with the world, because it's tough to be yourself. It's tough. Now, style icons, because this is where I pour all of my energy into, you know. Although design is my top priority right now, style is where I feel like I can really get down. I can be really free here. I can use whatever I want to use, you know. And Rihanna, it's something about Rihanna that I love. She's the fashion icon of this generation. She has set the bar so high that it's so hard to keep up. You never know what you're gonna get. I remember back in 2015, I was excited about watching the Met Gala, and all these other stars had came up there. I remember I was excited about the way Beyonce looked as well. The guys didn't really blow me away because they all pretty much had to wear a tuxedo. So, but I wanted to see some creativity, and Rihanna came out with this long yellow like cape with this pink underneath, and like, I can't really describe what it really was, but I knew it was beautiful, and I won't ever forget that. And I remember looking up the designer as a designer from China, and I think they say they spent like 500 hours or something like that. I may be off at the time, but spent like countless of hours on this one piece for her, and she stepped out of that car onto the red carpet, and I was forever blown away. I didn't think that somebody would be able to nail something like that. I probably would have looked at that on a mannequin or on probably one of the models when it came to the fashion show, and I probably would have been like, nah, I ain't feeling that. Like, you know, I probably wouldn't, but she stepped out there with grace and class and sex appeal, everything, and nailed it. Like, nailed it. Another style icon that I truly enjoy. I enjoy Pharrell. I enjoy A$AP Rocky. I enjoy, it's a lot. So many people that I enjoy, and I want to go back down to being to local as well. My cousin, that's one of the guys that really, 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 really inspired me with style. You know, my brother, he inspires me. He inspires me all the time when he's being different. We have two different styles, you know. It's funny because my cousin and I, he's like maybe, I want to say probably maybe 4 or 5 years older than me. And people always like, oh, like I love y'all two together, but we have totally two different styles. And when he dresses up, I be like, all right, I see you, there you go. You know, it's so amazing when I see him dress up, you know. And now I'm getting that feedback from him. He's like, man, like you're killing it, you know. And it's funny because our family, we go around them and they like, oh, here they go, always doing the most, always, you know. And he'll tell me like, man, my grandmother or my mom and them wanted to be like, where he was going with them pants on, or where he was going with that shirt on. And my mom would do the same thing to him, like, you saw him with them pants on? I'm like, yeah, I saw him. I'm like, that's how he expressed himself, you know. There's so many different style icons that I truly enjoy. Jendina is another one. Once again, that guy is amazing when he steps out. I've never seen somebody be so clean and does it so, he does it so easy. I'm like, I don't understand like how you do it. Like you do it and it's like from head to toe, you know. He's able to do that. And I enjoy all these different style icons that comes out. Tiana Taylor is another one that I truly, truly enjoy. And Connor, I hear that he's a big inspiration on the hip hop community, that he's dressing these different artists and things of that nature. Offset is another one. Big, I'm big on him. He's really, really dope. So there's so many different artists that I'm inspired by, and I really, really enjoy. CVL season 2 is different. It has so many different layers to it. CVL season 2 began, I want to say last summer. Last summer, the last 2 summers has been the inspiration for season 2. In the first summer, I went through some things and I was like, man, like I can't believe this. Like, you're supposed to be my best friend. Like, you're supposed to be the one that I truly, truly can count on. And then as the days kept going by, I noticed that I was losing this friend. I was losing this one person that I had depended on. And last summer, I'll never forget, in June, I received a disturbing phone call, and I just cried my heart out. I didn't know what to do with myself. I wanted to hide under a rock for the rest of my life. I wanted to give up on CVL. I wanted to give up on life, my family, my friends. Anything it was that I had to live for, I wanted to give up on. Because the one person that I wanted to share this future with, the one person that I wanted to make things work, depending on no matter how bad things got, I wanted to make things work, but things didn't work. And I started developing these designs, and I started to say, you know what? Rather than giving up on the world and on myself and on people that really truly love me, I'm gonna express this into my next collection. I'm gonna do season 2 the way I wanna do it. I'm gonna express all the feelings and the emotions and the tears and the dark days, the days I couldn't even stay at work because I lost it. I had never been without this person. I had never spent the day without this person. I mean, we would be away for a couple of days, or when I went to school, then that was times like that we was away, but I always talked to this person. This is the first person I talked to in the morning, the last person I talked to at night. You know, so when that bond broke and I found out that this person would no longer ever be a part of my life again, I didn't know how to deal with that. And only way that I could deal with it, when I found the light to finally deal with it, was CVL, season 2. That was it. So Heartless Society is something that I'm really, really proud of, and it's something that I'm going to shoot for the stars for. Like, I want everybody to be tuned in. This summer is the summer that I'm here to express how my last 2 summers was, you know. And although this is a situation that most people can relate to, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Because I think everyone can relate to heartbreak. Everyone can relate to when that person say they're down for you and they really not down. Everyone can relate to when a person can't even be honest with you, will look you in your face and still will tell you anything that you want to hear and not be honest with you, and most will not be honest with yourself. I wanted that person to be honest with themselves so they could be honest with me, but I didn't get that. My personal style is unforgettable. My personal style is, it's not expected. That's how I'm gonna describe it. You never know what I'm gonna come with. I remember when I first started out, once again, people used to always say, oh, that's the guy with the suit on. But now, you don't know what guy you're gonna get. You don't know if you're gonna get Andrew. You don't know if you're gonna get Drew. You don't know if you're gonna get Drewski. You don't know if you're gonna get CVL. You don't know what you're gonna get. I have so many different alter egos that it depends on how I'm feeling at the time. That's my personal style, and that's how I always want it to be. I don't want it to be no different. I don't want to bite somebody else's style. I don't want people to say, oh, I look like this, or I'm getting this. No, I don't want that. You never know what I'm gonna come with. I'm the guy that likes to keep my own foot on my neck, as well as I like to keep my foot on everybody else's neck. I want to keep everybody up on their toes. I want them to always be like, oh, wait, what is he getting ready to do next? He's gonna wow us, and that's how I want it. Always want it to be a wow factor, because once again, this is how I express myself. So when I go into that closet, or when I'm online and I'm shopping, or when I'm in the store, or when I'm getting custom pieces made, I went to Made in America in 2017, and 2017 Made in America Festival was in Philadelphia, and I remember I was talking to my bro, and I said, man, I want to get some like custom shoes made. Like, I don't know how I want to get them made, but I want to get them made. This is my first time ever seeing Jay-Z live by himself. Like, I was excited. So I went online and I went to research sketch artists for custom shoes. And I found this guy by the name of Richard. And thank God for him, because that's my sketch artist. And he's been so amazing on my team. However, we began starting this project on the shoes. And I told him, I said, hey man, Jay-Z just dropped an album. Like, I'm really, really inspired by it. And he talked so much about helping the black community, you know. And when I enjoyed one of his songs called OJ Story, I wanted him to recreate that video and that song onto some shoes. And I said, I'm gonna wear it at the concert. Flew out to Philly, and I kid you not, the reaction to the shoes was so amazing that they had this crowd of guys that was around me, and it was like, hey, y'all better not step on his shoes or we're gonna have some problems. And I was like, wait, hold up. Like, it's not that serious. Like, I don't want to have any problems with anybody, but nobody stepped on them. That was the most surprising thing. And it was like, wait, who did those? And like, I can't believe they even did. Like, the exaggeration that he did on these shoes were so amazing that when I put them on my feet, I felt like I had a pair of Giuseppe's on. I felt like I had a pair of Gucci's on, but they were $49 Converse that was illustrated by this guy that I found online that stays way in North Carolina. I still have yet to meet him in person. I know him. We've talked on the phone all the time. We FaceTime, but this guy really, really, really took his art to the next level. And when I strung those shoes up and I put them on my feet, and to see the reaction from people, even when I put up a picture of them before I even wore the shoes, and next thing you know, I wore them at Made in America, and like I said, the guy would not let nobody step on my shoes. And I even wanted to give them to Jay-Z, but I mean, I couldn't go home barefooted, so. But I enjoy my personal style because I never know what I want to do. And I'm gearing up now to go to New York Fashion Week, September 5th through the 14th. And I want everybody to be in tune. I want everybody to be by their phones. I want people to see that, like, I am coming for blood for New York Fashion Week. That's who I am. Now I feel like Muhammad Ali when he's in the ring. When he gets in that ring, I'm not friends with nobody. And when I put on those clothes, when I get out on those streets of New York, when I get in front of those cameras, I'm not friends with nobody. I am the freshest person. I have the most swag. So I'm excited about how people view my personal style, but even more so, my personal style. I visioned CVL so big, I dreamed of CVL being so big that it's almost impossible for me to say where I envision CVL 5 and 10 years from now, because I want so much for CVL. I want CVL to expand all over this world. I want generations to the next generation, to the next generation to wear CVL. That's what I want. I want to see CVL on the backs of everyone. But in 5 and 10 years, I don't necessarily think that I have this one particular goal where I want to be at. I just want to have growth. That's what I want. I don't want to say I want to have a storefront. I don't want to say that I want to be presenting in New York Fashion Week. I don't want to say those things. I just want to have growth within myself to still be myself and to be able to expand this brand all over. That's all I want. I don't want this big, long, dragged out responsibility that I may not be ready for yet. I'm gonna get ready, because within those 5 and 10 years is when I'm prepping myself. If you notice, most designers in their houses and the creative houses, they don't be put together within 5 years, 10 years. Like, these people that started way back in 1950, 1940, and 1913, and that's when they started. When those houses began to develop those brands. They didn't start right here in 2005 and become Gucci in 2015. Like, that's not who they were. It wasn't a 10-year job. This took a century. This took decades, and that's what I want. You know, I want to be able to leave my impact on the world. That's all I want, you know. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I have this huge goal that I would like CVL to be at. However, I do have a personal goal that I would love to do, and that's to either style someone or design something for someone on the Met Gala carpet. I express the Met Gala so much because it's this event that's so exclusive, but it's so important to a person like me that I think that that would be my ultimate goal to achieve, is presenting on a Met Gala carpet. It's this big red carpet that you can't miss the person. You can't be missed. All of these photographers are surrounded by you, and everybody wants you to turn around to this angle and turn left and turn right and look up and look. No, like I want to be there. That's where I want to be. That's a personal goal for me. However, with CVL, I wanted to expand all over this world and be able to have growth and have people to understand what CVL is about, because most people, they don't understand what Cvltivated is about. Everybody tell me, oh, it's a great name. I'm like, it's a great name, but do you understand it? And Cvltivated has always been about being who you are, being yourself. And anybody that's out there that's looking to achieve their goals, anybody that's out there that's looking to begin whatever it is that they want to do, start, get ready. But most importantly, be yourself. Don't change up for no one else. Always have validation within yourself. You don't need approval from no one else. And like I said, you can be cultivated in some t-shirts and a shorts. You don't have to always be dressed up to feel like you cultivated, you know. And that's what Cvltivated have always been about, is being your authentic self and never bending and folding for anybody else's standards.